So for making the parser table, number of rows is defined by number of states that we are having in the transition diagram. So here we have 7 states. So let them be I0, I1, I2, I3, I4, I5, I6, till I6. Next, there are actually 2 tables. First is the action table. In action table, we will only consider the terminals and the dollar. This is the go-to table. Here we will consider the non-terminals. So from the given grammar we can see that the terminals are C, D and non-terminals are S and C. So here 3 columns, that is for C, D and dollar, and here 2 columns, that is S and C. Okay, so this is action table, go to table. Now for go to non-terminals, what we need to do is we need to observe each capital letter, or we need to observe each non-terminal and see their transition. Like for I0, for transition S and C, for I0 for transition S it is going to I1 means 1, for transition C it is going to I2. Similarly for transition I1 it is going nowhere, I2 for capital S nowhere, but for capital C it's 5, for I2 capital C it's 5. Then for I3 capital C is 6, no transition for S, and then for I4 nothing, I5 nothing, I6 nothing. So go to table is complete. Now for the action table. Now for the action table we have 3 things. First is shift, second is reduce, and the third is for $1 it's accept. Okay, for I1 means this part, for states like this from S dash to S dot it is always accept. Okay, now this part is done. Shift, when we need to shift and when we need to reduce. We need to reduce for states like this, like when the dot is at the last. For states having A derives alpha dot, this and this, except I1, except I1. So for I4 I need to reduce, means this production C derives D belong to the rule number 3. So for I4 I need to write R3, R3, R3 throughout all my terminals. Similarly for I5, S gives CC. This is I1, means I need to write here R1, R1, R1. I6, CC means production 2. R2, R2, R2. Since my first step was to number these numbers are coming from there. So reduction part is done. Now shift. I need to shift for the other cases, like from I0, if I'll do small c, then I am getting I3. I0 on small c, I am getting I3. I0 on small c, I will get I3, but this is a shift. Similarly for I0 On D I get I4 means S4, this 4. Then I4 leave it. For I2 on small c I am getting I3. I2 on getting small c I get S3 because S is for shift, this 3. Then from here if I get D then it's 4 means S4. Similarly on I3 means this, on small c it is the same, S3. On small d it is I4 means S4. On D S4. So now this is my LR0 parser table ready. Since I have not got any kind of conflict like shift and reduce are in the same place or reduce and reduce are in the same place, this is a valid parser table and the gaps show how much error it can handle, the table can handle.